I want to also bring in someone who knows a lot about Jon and Kate Gosselin, Polly Kael. She started blogging about the Gosselins after they moved to her small town of Wernersville, Pennsylvania, and later wrote the book Jon and Kate Plus 8, Reality TV and the Selling of the Gosselins. She's also a professional counselor specializing in PTSD, mood disorders, and relationship challenges. Polly, thank you so much for being on the program. I want to be really clear and to be fair to Kate in these allegations. Colin was diagnosed with a number of different conditions. And I'll just list them off: unspecified bipolar disorder and related disorders, autism spectrum disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, and PTSD. But he says that he was committed just to shut him up. I have a tough time believing that there's any facility out there, psychiatric facility or otherwise, that would simply commit someone because a mom wanted to shut them up.
I don't have difficulty believing that. And I think that Kate is a very strong-willed person with a strong personality and is charismatic. And I think that some of those diagnoses are probably accurate, like the PTSD from being on the show and from things at home. But I don't think oppositional defiant disorder. Colin was on the show for many years, and there was never any evidence of him behaving badly on the show. I think that he was treated badly, and any bad behavior he had was probably a result of him being treated differently from the other children.
Or maybe a result of being on a show, because that used to be the big question, right? Is this good for the kids?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that all of them have experienced something that I've come to term fame trauma, which is what happens when people become rich or famous without having earned it. For example, winning the lottery can be traumatic. It's kind of a good trauma, but it can also be a bad trauma. And you don't do anything to earn it. And suddenly you have all this wealth and all this fame. And there's currently a series on, can I say another network?
Sure.
On Netflix called Pretty Baby, about Brooke Shields. And it's all about how she was born beautiful. She had a beautiful face, but she never was really recognized for being talented or bright, which she certainly is.
Poor person.
Yeah. And instead, she got all this attention just for something that she had no control over.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
The boy, Colin, says that he was locked in a room all day, zip-tied, and kept away from his siblings. And Kate responded to that with this. She said, all measures that were taken in our home were at the explicit recommendation of his pediatric psychiatrist and or his team of specialists, and were put into place to safeguard every member of our family, our friends, as well as our family pets. So I'm curious that, is it possible that there could be a lot of truths here? Colin was treated differently because Kate had to protect a family this large from a sibling who maybe had those conditions that I read out earlier. I can't understand also how anybody could prescribe zip ties.
Yes, I cannot imagine that prescription. I cannot imagine, even if he was as troubled as she said that he was, and she implies that he's violent and a danger to other people and to animals. Even if that were true, no prescription would include locking a child in a secluded area and zip tying their hands and feet together. It reminds me a lot of a book called A Child Called It, in which one child was treated differently and kept in the basement on a mattress and had to eat out of a dog food dish. Colin was not even allowed to eat with his siblings. He was in a room that was built for this, and he was treated not only differently from his siblings, but much worse than his siblings. So that's, he got a lesson over a period of time that he was not as worthy and not worth as much and not loved as much and didn't deserve treatment as well as his good treatment, as well as his siblings did. And that
it's important, though. I do think it's important to say these are allegations, and we have yet to see the rest of how this story will play out.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.